Thank you all for joining us for our first quarter 2026 earnings call. As always, we want to take some questions from all of you. So to kick it off, Hyliion Air asked, could you provide an update on the progress on UL certification for the Hyliion Carno power module and any remaining steps towards approval? This was our big announcement during this earnings call where we shared that we have now successfully passed all of our non-recurring UL certification tests. And what this means is that this is really the gating step to start being able to deploy systems out to customer sites. Each unit we build will still need to go through a final run, a UL run, just to ensure the operation of the system before it gets its nameplate. But from here on in, now we don't need to redo any of those UL certification tests that we successfully completed. So that was a huge milestone for us. Also got a question for Arun Kumar, which he asked, could you please share any insights or experiences from your recent engagements with Walmart team or the United States Military Academy at West Point, especially around technology evaluation, pilot discussions, or potential use cases? So two things. One is we posted online about we were invited to be one of the presenting companies at Walmart's Innovation Day a few weeks ago. They pulled in some really awesome tech across a myriad of companies, and we had a Carno core there that we were able to showcase. They had their CEO of North America walking around, as well as much of their other leadership, and we got to share what the Carno is, what the benefits of the technology are. And then similarly, West Point, I was invited to go meet with the 3-star general there, Lieutenant General Gilland, and talk with him about how our Carno technology could be applicable for the Army, how we could look at potentially doing or assisting at West Point and potentially collaborating with them, or just the Army as a whole and some of the unique needs they have around power generation. Then Michael Kosatsko asks, given reliance on additive manufacturing and complex components, how do you plan to transition from prototype level builds to cost-efficient mass production? John, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. So as we've been saying the last couple of quarters, we've been working on optimizing the existing printer fleet that we have. We have just over 30 printers. We're going to take delivery of a few more this year, and we're taking the time to get those printers such that they're operating at their optimal capability. And a lot of this is software that dictates how the lasers move and how the parts are printed. The nice thing about additive is you don't have to do a big changeover when you're going from what we'll call prototype or the initial builds to mass production. So in fact, as of right now, we are currently printing parts that we will be using in units that we'll sell to our commercial customers. So there really isn't a big changeover. It's just a matter of getting those printers in and optimized and producing parts, which is what's happening now.
Then Adam Van Noord asked, have you been surprised by any inbound interest on Carno from sectors or industries that you had not previously considered or prioritized? So we do see, unique opportunities come up, oil and gas, or I think a pretty unique one we saw was a steel manufacturer reached out about could we use the waste heat from steel production to actually power the Carno. We explored it, and it sounds like, yes, we could, but with that, where we see kind of the two primary markets we're heavily looking at or going after are military applications. We talked about that a lot on today's call. We're expecting about 40 to 50 million of additional military contracts to be signed this year. And then also in the data center sector. And data centers are booming right now. They need power, but they also are very interested in some of the unique benefits of the Carno that truly enable behind-the-meter on-site power gen. Then Gabriel Martinez asks, Carno converts heat to electricity regardless of source. Has any federal agency outside of the DoD engaged Hyliion about Carno for nuclear heat conversion applications? Coincidentally enough, just had one of the data center partners that we've been working with yesterday reach out about coupling Carno with a nuclear reactor. So basically what happened is nuclear makes heat, then we take that heat and we provide the electrons. So we've previously talked about this was an interest from NASA as they look at lunar opportunities. it's probably going to be nuclear power production, and then we could be that source to make electrons. We also see that as something that can happen here on the planet as well. Then another question from Arun Kumar is, in the last earnings call, you referenced the $500 million shelf stock registration. Could you share the plan on how and when you intend to use this facility to capitalize raising going forward? John?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So I think the reference there is to our S3 shelf registration. And what that is a document that you file with the Security and Exchange Commission that enables a company to issue some kind of securities to investors. That could be stock, it could be warrants, it could be debt, and it's all companies typically have those in place, which is prerequisite to give them the flexibility to raise capital when they need to. So tying that back to what we've said publicly, at some point we will be raising capital, particularly to buy more additive printing machines, and that will enable us to grow much more quickly. Tying back to what I said earlier, right now we're trying to get the machines that we have today optimized, but at some point we'll want to grow that fleet much faster, and then we will raise capital at some point using part of that shelf. Now, that is a big number, 500 million. Companies typically don't use all of it, and it's okay if you don't. It lasts 3 years, and then we'll just renew that at some point in the future. So that's what that S3 registration was about.
And then final question from Hyliion is, has Hyliion fixed the Carno 200 kilowatt output shortfall problem from past quarters? If not, what are the major roadblocks? So we did provide a little update today on that. So over this past quarter, we did some isolated tests that we actually were able to see double-digit kilowatt performance improvement. So as we shared last quarter, we were at a point where we had been able to successfully generate 175 kilowatts of gross power out of our dyno system that had some advancements in it. We obviously this quarter made some further advancements. We'll then start rolling those into the dyno unit to be able to validate them. But all this keeps us on track to, by year end, we anticipate being at the full 200 kilowatts of power production. And, we've already identified the roadmap of how to get there. Now it's just about doing those isolated tests and then actually rolling it into a full Carno system. So no things there that, we expect won't enable us to be able to get to that power rating. With all that being said, thank you all for joining today's call and for the questions that you submitted, and we look forward to chatting again next quarter.